Okay, well, Neil Lunderville comes up here to talk about weatherization at scale. He's right there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Neil Lunderville. I'm president and CEO of VGS Vermont Gas. It's my day job. My night job is exploring weatherization and making sure that this remains one of the key strategies that we have to make Vermont energy more affordable, less emitting, and help Vermonters be more comfortable. I am joined by two great co-chairs in Richard Fazy from EFG and, of course, Kara Robichek, without whom we would not be doing any of the work. A common theme you'll hear among all network action teams, you'll hear now and into the future, because without Kara's work, it really wouldn't be possible. We started this Weatherization at Scale team back in 2020 as a pitch to all of you to say, what can we do together? Build a big coalition to wrap around the idea that we need to do more funding for weatherization in the future and not just continue with steady state. And we set out a very, very, very ambitious goal. We said that we wanted to, by the end of the decade, have 120,000 Vermont homes weatherized. Why did we want them weatherized? The benefits are clearly abundant. We've talked about them here today. But one of the most important ones, especially in this moment, starts with the fact that you cannot have real energy affordability without weatherization. It starts with weatherization. When we can get Vermonters to buy and consume less energy, we are helping them put money in their pockets every month. We are helping them reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and make their homes more comfortable, healthy, and livable. This is an evergreen strategy that we need to keep going every single year. We're benefited by the fact that Vermonters love weatherization. I mean, if you ask them, this is not an issue that's 50-50, even 75-25. It's like 9.5 Vermonters out of 10 love weatherization, and the only half Vermonter who doesn't is one who may not understand that really long word with a lot of letters, because they really get this. They know that having a buttoned-up home is something that will really give them benefit. And we've seen that demand remains really high for weatherization, and the incentives have helped. So we've seen two things at Weatherization at Scale Coalition. We've seen that the incentives that have been offered in the last couple of years have done just what they're intended to do. People have been ringing the phone to get an audit done in their house and get weatherization jobs going. So demand has been high, the incentives have worked. We've also seen that with steady funding, which we've been able to do, that weatherization agencies and contractors have been staffing up to make sure that they have the crews available so the wait list doesn't extend ad infinitum, that it actually is achievable inside a time period where somebody wants to do the weatherization job. That's really important. We've been able to do this because of the legislature and the governor coming together around this issue and putting money in to weatherization. This has been a really critical element of this. The federal money that we had come in through IIJA and IRA funds was put into these programs, particularly into the WAP program, Weatherization Assistance Program, to help low and moderate income Vermonters weatherize. This has made all the difference in recent years, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But what we don't have yet, something that's really important to our network action team, is that we don't yet have the steady and scaled up funding for the future, particularly to meet our goals in this area. So one of the things we looked at in the last year in particular was what is really going on with funding. There's a lot of worry out there that we were going to have a big funding cliff that was just going to drop off really quickly. So the network action team dug into these numbers quite a bit. And what we found is that because of the work by the legislature and the governor to put money in, we actually continue to see weatherization funding grow over 26 and 27. But then, particularly for low income, through the Weatherization Assistance Program, that funding sort of drops off in 27. If we went one more year out on this graph, we'd see a really big drop off in 29. That's what we have to really focus on for the future. But we have been able to grow the numbers over the last couple of years because of this funding. And we see that. Now, this graph, I want to just set the stage for this graph. We've shown this a number of years. And that blue area represents the difference between the blue area and the light green area represents the gap to get from where our current projection is to where we want to go, 120,000 homes. I wish I could say that I think there's going to be a big slug of funding in and we're going to be able to close that gap in the next few years. That's going to be tough. But we've made real progress. If we look at this graph over the last few years, what we've seen is that every year we have been able to add new numbers. In fact, from last year to this year, we're on track to weatherize 2,000 additional homes by the end of this decade. That is due to the funding levels that we have had in weatherization. And if we want to continue to close that gap, we need to continue to fund weatherization as a priority. So that's where I want to close. I really want to look ahead as to what we're doing at Weatherization at Scale Coalition we need to make sure that we're helping work with policymakers, lawmakers to identify how we close that gap. Strategies to use the money that we have most effectively to be able to do more weatherization in Vermont. We also need to make sure that we're focused on narrow issues, that not really narrow issues, but are really important prerequisite issues like pre-weatherization. This is home remediation to get homes ready for weatherization, particularly for low-income Vermonters. This money's going to run out after 2026, or the funds are going to go way down. So that's something we could focus on in the year ahead, is how we put more money into that. And certainly we need to keep our eye on the ball when it comes to federal funding. Federal funding, I think it's fair to say, is not safe. It is not certain. We have IRA funds that are funding our weatherization assistance program, but they could go away very quickly if, the stroke of a pen. So we got to be really careful to watch out for that. I want to close with 3 quick thanks. The first is to all of our Weatherization at Scale Coalition members, many of whom are here in the room today. The list is very long, and I don't have time to read them, but you know who you are, and we know who you are because you're already in the community doing this work. Thank you for that, and continue to be involved. As Cara said, if you want to join this is a very easy, just come to one of our meetings, talk about weatherization, have the passion for it. Second is I want to thank the lawmakers and administration officials who are here who have consistently pushed for weatherization, particularly Senator Bray, who's been a champion for weatherization year after year, and without whom we would not be where we are today with funding. And the last is just to call out here our button-up bear from our partners at EVT. We had a great press conference 2 weeks ago with the governor, Peter Walk, many others, Darren Springer. Jeff Wilcox was there, runs Weatherization Assistance Program. One of our weatherization heroes. These programs really rely on folks who are in the trenches doing the work to keep the money moving. And Jeff Wilcox is an example, and there are many others. I know he's not here today. His colleague Robert is, Sarah Phillips, who led the OE office for many years. This is the work that goes month after month, year after year, decade after decade to make a difference. So we want to recognize and thank their efforts for all of us, for Vermont. That's it. Thank you.